Welcome to episode 9 of More Fun Talking Retro. For those just discovering this podcast, for that is what it is, you are probably wondering what this is all about. Well, without going into the facts of life and hardcore philosophy, it's probably easiest to summarize this show as finding out more about people that make up this hobby. If you came here looking for the latest up-to-date news for out-of-date tech, then disappointment awaits. But if you want to listen to a friendly chat between two rabid retro repair enthusiasts, you should stick around. This week's guest is none other than Andrew Hutchings, otherwise known as Linux Jedi, who I would cheekily suggest is just like me, but better qualified, younger, probably better looking, you be the judge, and far better at repairing Amigas than I could ever wish to be. Andrew, it's like I invited you on here to make me look bad. Hello and welcome. And what is a Linux Jedi?
Right. So that goes back to around 2003 when I was working at a hosting company, ISP type thing, small one in Wales. I lived in Wales for a little bit. And one day a whole bunch of our servers went down. And I can't remember exactly what caused it or anything, but I had loads of terminal sessions opened and fixed it very, very quickly. And one of my colleagues said, "You really are the Linux Jedi, aren't you?" Because he knew I was into Star Wars and everything. And it kind of stuck from there. So it became my nickname, and I've used it ever since on social media as the internet grew.
Oh, it's a name that sticks as well in your brain. It's a good one because
Exactly.
everybody knows who the. Well, do you say Linux or Linux?
I say Linux because it's what Linus Torvalds says. So
okay, fair enough. And he made it on
Exactly.
a Sinclair QL, by the way. Yeah. You have a Sinclair QL.
That's one I don't have. I actually got offered one not too long ago, but I knew what those drives were like to repair, and I thought, do I want to kind of bring myself to that right now?
Well, if you do fancy the challenge, I don't have a spare. Well, I kind of do have a spare QL, but I don't want to give them away. If you do come across the QL again and you fancy a go, and you are worried about the micro drives, I've got so many spares here that I don't know what to do with. So I've got all of the chips and everything out of them, all of the mechanical parts and everything, cases for the external micro drives, all of it. So if you ever need something like that, just hit me up.
Yeah, absolutely. I was offered one for free, and I really should have taken it, but...
But do you get this? Where, I mean, in our position, our privileged positions, people know that we repair these things for pleasure and for entertainment. We often get offered things. Does this happen quite often? Well, it definitely does with me.
Not very often, but I don't. I do things a little bit different to what you do. So I don't do videos very often showing what I do. So, but the A1200 that I use at the moment, that one was donated. Its case was completely smashed up, and it was not in a great state. But the motherboard was pretty much perfect. It just needed a recap. So I took that on as my own, and that was just a donation.
I would suggest to anybody listening to this and watching this, that Andrew is probably one of the best places a computer could end up. One of the best homes for a wayward computer that was looking for a home. If you have
RMC first, but
he's another good one, but he's on the other side of the country. We can ignore him.
True.
Do you get over to the cave, by the way?
I really want to. In fact, I was supposed to speak there a couple of years ago, but it kind of fell through last minute because they couldn't get quite the attendance they needed to actually make it happen. So I haven't yet. I really want to, but again, it's quite long travel. We're gonna have to stay overnight, and it's
further for you than it is for me. Yeah. I'm going in a couple of days actually, and one of the questions I had a couple of questions from Discord, and one of them was from Chris Graney, and he said, "When will you be doing a patron talk?" Because you were booked in, and I think Chris was going to be coming to that one. So
yes, I was. So for those who don't know, I was supposed to give a talk on PiStorm because I'm one of the admins of the PiStorm community. I was one.
We want to talk about that as well.
Yeah. So, but that kind of fell through. So I ended up giving a smaller version of the talk at a conference called FOSDEM in Brussels. I actually took my Amiga 1200 with me, plugged it into the projector, and actually gave the slides from the Amiga.
Is this recorded anywhere?
It is. That one's actually on my YouTube channel because the video was open source. So yeah.
Oh, I look for your YouTube channel. Make sure you give me a link to that. I couldn't find it. Searching for some people's YouTube channel by using certain words doesn't seem to work very well for some reason. It's not a very good search engine.
No. I can't even remember what the tag is. I think it's the Linux Jedi, but I'll have to check for you.
That really throws things sometimes because I just searched for Linux Jedi, and it showed me all kinds of different things. So it seems to be a name that others have taken on quite wrongly, I think. So there you go, Chris. Andrew has got this talk done and dusted. You missed it, you weren't there, but you can watch it. That's a good thing. While we're here, let's do the other, because there's only 2 questions from the Discord, because I'm very badly organised and forgot to tell anybody this was happening on time. And Tech Made Easy Matt says, no question as such, but a big thank you, and he put that in capital letters from me. More than once, I've Googled a problem and found the answer on his website.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. I'm glad it helps a lot of people. I actually write it to help me for when I hit these problems again. I like, yeah, that's how I fixed it last time, so I don't have to go through the whole route of figuring it out.
Yeah, we can't. Retaining all this information is completely impossible, isn't it? It's and having a normal life as well. I've often found that, but I just I give in to the chaos and just learn it again next time. So
I remember pointers to where I need to get the information next time I need it, but I never remember the information itself because there's just too much. Yeah. So.
What's your search? What are your bookmark lists like? Mine is just like splattered. Like someone's done it.
I've started using Google Keep actually for that kind of thing, and that's now splattered as well. So,
someone else suggested that for taking notes in a previous podcast, and I'm going to have to try Google Keep. I did try it when it was first introduced on Android. I, opened it up, looked at it and thought, I don't really understand this, and put it away. And I've never opened it since. But people keep saying that that's going to be a good note-taking app for me.
Yeah, there's a few. I know people that use, I think it's Evernote is the other big one.
Yeah, I've used that one. Yeah. I used to use that for shopping lists.
Yes.
So I would call you, as well as being a repair specialist, especially with Amigas, I call you a blogger. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm not saying that as a dirty word. It sounds like it, but we first crossed paths on Twitter many moons ago, and I took a lot of inspiration from what you were doing, putting up your progress on projects and repairs on Twitter in threads. And that's kind of where I started as well. So there are a few of us that were doing that around the time, but I think you were one of the first that I saw. And so when you're making a repair, talk me through your process of turning a repair into a blog.
So if I remember, I try and photograph everything I do from the beginning. That's with my latest post, I actually forgot to take a few photos along the way. So there's the kind of the end product and then the description of how I got there. I usually am making notes as I'm going. Some of my latest posts, I'll do some of the repair for a few hours, and then I will write the next part of the draft of the blog, and then I'll continue doing the next part of the repair and so on. And usually when you see it in multiple parts, I've taken a hard stop for a week or something because other things have taken over. So
that must be bliss, being able to put a project away for that long.
I do. Not by choice most of the time.
Yeah, I have got some here. I've got one that keeps looking at me, and I leave it in a space where I can see it. There's an Opus Discovery down there that's 2 years into its repair journey. It's basically fixed. I just need to finish it.
Well, behind me, just about there, you can see a motherboard. That's for a Acorn A7000 that I acquired very, very cheaply because the motherboard is the most battery damaged you've ever seen. So I've started the repair blog on that. I've cleaned a lot of the damage up. So, but I haven't had a chance to even power it up yet to see how far the damage goes.
Oh, God. Battery bombed Acorn. Lovely.
Yeah, this is one of the worst I've ever seen.
I don't think I'm brave enough to take one of those on. I've fixed some nasty machines in my time, but battery damage hides under things.
Yeah. I'm very used to doing the Amiga 4000 battery damage machines.
Yeah, all of those SMD mounted chips.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 chips that will die almost every single time due to it. A few traces that are going to die, and then I've designed some diagnostic tools to find the rest of the issues.
So how many 500 pluses do you think you've brought back?
500 plus is only 4 or 5. They don't
Only 4 or 5.
They don't come across my desk that often as much as 4000s do at the moment.
All right. Yeah, I think you've got a bit of a name for yourself as the guy to go to for to repair these. You've got Stu Cambridge's 4000s.
I've actually have both of them with me right now because the other Andrew, Mortal Joysticks, he got the other A4000, so I repaired that for him. And also I took the other one for myself, and I've repaired that as well. So, yeah. But Andrew still needs to collect his, so it's sitting over there right now.
Lovely. Have you got a backlog?
Of repairs for people, yes. I have a Acorn A5000 motherboard up there. I received another 4000 today, which I haven't even opened the box on. And that's without my own repair backlog, where I've had an Atari STE for 2 years that I really want to get to, just haven't had the chance. And I've got a Sinclair PC200.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it's good. It's just got a cache issue, I think, and some rust on the internal shielding that needs cleaning up. But so I know it's not going to be a big hard job, but it's just never one that's come to the forefront with everything else going on.
That's patina. Do you take your machines back to as close to factory as possible, or do you allow a bit of yellowing here and there and a bit of cosmetic?
I allow a bit of yellowing. If I do retro buy, I use the vapor method, which
becoming a fan.
Yeah, so put the liquid in a tank and raise the thing above it, close the lid, and you can do it indoors if need be. And it's a lot more gentle on the plastics, I find. Although it doesn't bring as white as if you were applying directly cream to it, but yeah.
Yeah, nice. So your process for repairing and recording this repair, do you take? Do most of the photos go up on Bluesky as you go, and then you turn that into a blog later?
Used to be the way I do it. Now I put a couple of teasers on Bluesky and X, and a majority of the photos end up in the blog now.
Oh, okay. I did similar myself, but I moved on to YouTube. Have you never been tempted to do a repair on YouTube?
I've actually recorded one that for someone else as part of their video, but that was a year ago, and that video is still not live yet. So,
okay.
But I found out from that it's just so much time. I don't know how you get time to do it, because I just, the editing alone is just.
Yeah, it is. I would suggest to anybody that thinks that it's a good idea to record and make videos about doing repairs, you're going to add 10 times the time it takes to do the repair.
Exactly, yeah.
Turn it into a video.
So I've got my microscope over there, which has got an HDMI output, so I can record off of that. Then I have to have a camera positioned somehow so you can see the soldering I'm doing, and then cameras on this test bench, and it's. Yeah.
I've got it down to a fine art now, and I can turn around a simple repair in a day. And and that's why I've been releasing a repair every week for the last couple of months at least. And I've got some in the bank. But you talk about having different recording media. I have the 2 cameras, and I have capture and a microscope and a thermal camera, and I use a mobile phone as well for other bits and pieces as well. So 6 sources, all that have to be mixed together and cut.
I have a mobile phone that is just for taking photos, because there's a better camera than my main mobile phone.
Right. Okay. What camera is that? Well, which camera phone?
That one's a Pixel 8.
Right. Yeah, good choice. I like the Pixels.
Yeah.
They're good for that. I have a 6 that I still use for as a bench camera. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, the working on these machines, is this now part of your daily life? Is this your respite from working and other parts of life that you want to forget about? Is this your switch off time?
It is. So I can actually take you back to the start of it. So,
Yes, please.
yeah. And it's not far back as you think. So in 2020, August 2020, I left a job and had a few weeks before I started my next one. And my wife said to me, "You need a hobby." And she was thinking I would like take up gardening or something like that. And I thought to myself, right, I'm going to repair a machine that I never owned as a kid. So I went straight from the 8-bit era to the 32-bit era PCs kind of thing, with nothing in the middle. So I thought, right, I'm going to get myself an Acorn A3000 that's faulty and bring it up. And then I saw how much they cost, and so settled on an Amiga A500, and the rest is history, really. So yeah, and I've been repairing and building up my collection ever since. I tend to, because my day job is typically US hours, so I start late in the morning, but I have, since having kids, my kids are grown up now, but I get up quite early in the morning, so I spend my mornings where possible doing the repair work before I start work.
Right. Okay.
And then some weekends as well, where I can. But yeah, it's a breakaway. It's a challenge for me. I like challenging myself, so.
So obviously you work with software as your job.
Yes.
During the day. Do you still enjoy the software side of things when you're doing like repairs and messing around with our old vintage computers?
Absolutely, yeah. So I've done the software side on the vintage stuff as well. So I wrote some of the code for the Musashi PiStorm.
Oh, really?
I've written firmware for quite a few of the boards that I sell, things like that. I've some Amiga software for the Flash Kickstart board that I make. So yeah, I dabble a little bit on that side of the software as well as my day job software. So
nice. Okay. Well, it's nice that you can do it without it, impinging on what you like to do. So
no, I do enjoy my day job as well, so it helps.
That's a good thing. Yeah, that helps as well. And it probably makes you a more rounded and healthier person, I'd imagine.
I hope so.
So you mentioned then that you sell some stuff on your website. I do want to let you do a little plug here for your website, which is, I do have a link for it, linuxjedi.co.uk. Is that where your store is as well?
No, so my store is retrosupplies.co.uk.
Oh, yes, I have. Yeah, I did look at that. Because you do things like the CPU relocators for the Amiga 500 and 2000. And I noticed in your GitHub repository, you you forked the 2 megabyte chip RAM.
Yes. Yes, from Live 2.
Yeah.
So, yes, the reason for that is I got some PCBs of his, and I found them really difficult to build. So
right.
I decided to modify the design to make it easier to build, basically.
Right. Do you know anybody in the board folk?
A few people, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, because I know Julian Brown quite well, and he sounds exactly the same. He has the same attitude as you, where he comes across a board or a project, and he'll just say, "Oh no, that's not right. I can do better than that," and he'll just take it apart and make his own version.
The thing that a lot of people know me for is the RGB to HDMI board, but that again was taking a design that already existed. I didn't like it, so I changed it, and then it appears that everyone else liked what I did, so everyone uses it.
It's a really good. It's a great design. I haven't used that one myself, but that was because I used the original RGB to HDMI in my Amiga 500, and then didn't like it. So I took it out. Otherwise, I probably would have gone that way as well. So I just want to go back quickly to microblogging. and blogging in general? Because I'm curious, as a YouTuber, do you get much feedback from people on the other side, or is this not? I mean, I think if you were craving attention, you probably would make YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And you've already said that you put the blog together to help you record it for yourself, for your own purposes. But do you still get much feedback from people that read it?
Absolutely, yeah. I get there's quite a few comments now on several of the posts. So they come in every now and then. But I get a lot of people when I'm chatting to them in private messaging saying, "Thank you for your blog. It's great to see it because not everyone can consume videos." And I totally get that. I do consume videos. I just cannot. I don't have the time to make them myself. So
I understand. It's all right. It's a good excuse. I don't mind. It's not for everybody, and that's good. Because nobody wants to shout into the void. It's nice to hear back from people, and and it's quite satisfying that knowing that you've helped someone else. That's something that really keeps me going.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that people are searching for certain things, and they hit upon my blog, and I know it helps them figure it out. Particularly with programming Xilinx chips that are often used in retro projects. So I've written several blog posts on how to do that with the Raspberry Pi. And then every time I do, the Raspberry Pi Foundation change how you're supposed to do it. So I have to go back and do new blog posts. But yeah.
You're on your toes.
I know Terrible Fire links to my blog posts for that now, and a few other projects too.
Excellent. Well, it's something that is a great resource for. I've used it in the past as well. So that would be the project that you're actually referring to there. I think was probably PiStorm, but most people are going to use that for programming those CPLDs. Let's have a little talk about that. How did you get involved in that project?
So I was aware of it for a little while, and I figured I can't remember what board it was. I think it was an A500 that had a really weird issue. And I figured, given how PiStorm works, I could use it to diagnose without having a CPU running what is going on here. So I became one of the back then we were we had these things where people would join a group buy. So the boards were really cheap. I think they were.
I was one of the first.
There we go. So
£15 for a PiStorm.
It was, back then before,
before
that. So I acquired it that way, and then to make it work the way I wanted it to work, I was making tweaks to the software. So I was streaming the tweaks to the developers. And then I was doing some tooling and things like that, and ended up getting quite involved and ended up being one of the admins for the project. And that leads to today. So I haven't done so much work on the MU68 stuff that's been around, but mostly because the community has got so large that I just cannot keep up anymore. It's absolutely massive.
It's an amazing project, and to take a Raspberry Pi and plug it into the CPU on a 30-something year old computer, and make it do amazing things. The thing that really drew me in, I wasn't so interested in accelerating an Amiga, because at the time I only had an Amiga. Well, my first Amiga was my Amiga 1200, which was the first computer I ever recapped. I had that, but that was already set up with an IDE hard drive and everything. And so the Amiga 500, which Lee Smith actually sold me, I wanted to be able to have a hard drive with that as well. And the PiStorm, well, as soon as I read in the notes on that you could have an image on an SD card that could act as a hard drive, I was completely sold. That drew me in, and I was 100% on board straight away.
Yeah, for me, it's entirely diagnostics. That's what I use it for.
Right.
I've
Okay.
written tools to talk to various parts of the motherboard from the PiStorm, so I can get that view into what's going on.
Is this something you've published, or is this just for your own personal use?
Some of it is I've bolstered. So there's a tool called Book Test, which people know about. I didn't write that, but I've written patches for that in the past. I have a fork of that, which I keep meaning to upstream, called WCS Test.
Mm-hmm.
So an Amiga 1000 has this mezzanine board on it called the WCS Right Control Store, I think it's called, and that's where it has no boot ROM essentially, so it loads the boot ROM off the disk. If that is bad, this test will tell you where it's bad.
Oh, nice. Oh, it's not something I think most people are ever going to need.
No, exactly. But it was useful for me for an Amiga 1000 I was repairing, so I wrote it.
Well, no, there will be somebody in the future that's going to have that problem and will come across that. That's just amazing that it's something that's possible. I love all of that, that people that make these. Right, so for those that don't know, when we record these, we are streaming this to our Discord, to the Retro Hardware Discord, and in the chat, as well as Lewis, who was here earlier, is Factor of Matt, who is Matt Desmond, and he's the guy behind the Des Test Switch and Des Test Max C64 diagnostics.
Oh, cool.
So how do you find C64 repairs? Because I think I do love my ZX Spectrum repairs, and I find that I could probably do that without even looking now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my favourite thing to repair is a C64. I mean, obviously, you're going to say an Amiga is your favourite thing to repair.
Of course, yeah. I have done, obviously, C64. So I actually have, I don't know if you've seen these before. So it's a Backbit chip tester 2.
Okay.
And these actually will test all the custom chips in the C64.
I have seen that. Someone showed that to me in Chrissy Baps in Discord showed me his one of those. They are quite expensive, though.
They are expensive, and you have to buy it from the US and then pay import on it. And
and tariffs.
It's made its money back since I got it. So
really, okay,
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna. I would like one, absolutely. But that's they are a bit pricey, and they're getting pricier.
I think Evie's working on the next version right now. So I don't know if she's still selling that model yet, or whether.
While we're showing off chip testers, I've just built this one. This is actually a video that when this podcast comes out, this will be the video for this will be live. It's I
saw it. You put it on socials, didn't you?
Yeah,
that's really good. I've got the cheap and dirty version of that just has the LEDs that flash.
Yes, that's really good though. It is really good.
Probably the best RAM tester I've got is that. So yeah,
it does work really well. I mean, they're not ideal because they don't, CCL. CMOS and TTL don't really play together very nicely. As Adrian Black keeps telling me, he's not a big fan of chip testers, but I really like this one. It's really nice. Tube Time created that. Yeah, really, really good. I do like my testing gadgets. So you're sitting in front of you. This is an audio podcast as well, so I'm sorry, audio people. But
sorry.
And Andrew is sitting in his workshop, and I just want to be in there because he's got some kit. How long has it taken you to put all that together? 2020 maybe?
Oh God, a few years. So originally this was all in a spare room of the house. And this was actually my wife's workshop. So this is actually when we bought this house, this used to be a double garage. So those big windows behind me, they were the garage doors.
Oh yeah.
So I've had those windows fitted. This all been insulated.
Double garage.
Yeah.
Along
the back there, you can't quite see it. That's a kitchen counter going all the way across with cupboards underneath for storage. So that my soldering bench is that part of it. Although I've got a reflow oven down that end somewhere.
Fantastic! I'm super jealous.
But it's all been. What I typically do is when I make retro sales or I do repairs for retro people, I reinvest that into my equipment or my the more machines or whatever. So I never make a profit on that stuff, but it helps me get better equipment and grow my collection.
Excellent. Do you do repairs as a service?
Yes,
You do.
I don't advertise it much because even without advertising it, I get enough in. So
yeah, I will. I do often get people ask me. I had a comment on a video today for a ZX Spectrum repair, I think, and I don't do repairs as a service. It might be something I do in the future, but I just have too many to do now, and because I want to turn them over quickly in videos, it's not really fair for me to do that. Almost half-assed.
I did Mike Daly's A4000 not too long ago, and off the back of that, loads of people started contacting me, so I didn't have to actually do much.
I believe I'm going to meet Mike on Sunday, actually.
Oh, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he is a nice guy. He's, I do like his attitude. So talking of meeting up, we actually met at Kickstart.
Yes,
last year, and you donated. I have actually still got it. The PiStorm 600.
Yes.
Board that needs a repair. That I have an Amiga 600 still as part of the whole charity thing. Mm-hmm. As soon as I get round to that, that's going to be repaired and going in that 600. So it will get sold. But anyway, back to shows and things. Is this something that you go to regularly? Because I don't get to very many of them, but that's the only one I've seen you at.
Yeah, I don't get to many. So I've been to quite a few local ones. So there was OLL. Do you remember that one?
No.
That was in Norwich Showground. It was pretty big. Like a lot of the localish YouTubers and some of the distant ones. So Nostalgia Nerd was there. The Gebs 24, people like that were.
What host Norcus? He would have been there.
all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Ashens. Yeah. So, but yeah, I had several Amigas on show there for people to play with, including the CDTV, blasting out the Xenon 2 soundtrack and stuff. So,
I've got a CD32 down here.
Oh yeah,
it's buried at the moment, waiting for a recap. So that'll be the first one of those I've ever done.
It's a lot of capacitors in a CD32, and you might find the videos bad, but.
Now, you're a man with a lot of tools. What's your favourite method for putting you on the spot, removing electrolytic surface-mounted capacitors?
So I have, for the smaller ones, I have tweezers, soldering tweezers. Yeah. So they're very easy to pop off. For the larger ones, I dual-wield 2 soldering irons. I've got 2 JBC irons and 2 Weller irons that are all cartridge ones. So they're,
lovely.
Perfect heat on the tip.
Okay.
Yeah, I occasionally hot air, but not very often.
Oh, that's my new favourite method, hot air. We're piercing the top and...
yeah, that's the thing. You got to make sure they don't pop when you do hot air. And
that just terrifying. I hate things exploding. I really don't like anything that goes bang.
I've had enough reefers go that.
It just gives you a nervous disposition. So we don't need that. But back to show. So you're not going to Retrofest this year.
No, not going to Retrofest. I would have probably had another stall at the Amiga Expo if there was going to be one, but as far as I'm aware, there isn't.
No,
but I've traveled a lot with work the first quarter of this year, so I'm kind of trying to cut my travel back in general right now. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for anybody listening, I will be at Retrofest this year, and Andrew will not. But that's on the 1st of May and 31st of May and the 1st of June. But I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm going to the cave this weekend. So when you go to the cave, try and let us know. So it will be nice to meet up with you again, so we can spend a bit more quality time, because Kickstart was a bit manic.
Kickstart was manic, yeah, absolutely. I'm glad my wife was there to help out, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do that on my own.
Yeah, that was absolutely crazy. And it was a good event. I'm a bit sad that they didn't do it this year, but obviously there are real people involved.
It's the anniversary year. You'd think it would be the year to do it.
So before we wrap up, I want to know, some obvious questions. Actually, there's the trope question I have to ask everybody, and I forgot to ask it last week. In fact, Alan asked himself the question because he was such a good guest. But what was your first micro or first
easy.
computer?
BBC Micro.
You started with the BBC, okay?
So my mother was a teacher.
Oh, there you go. Right home in the holidays, I'd imagine.
Oh no, she actually bought one. I don't know if she got a discount, but yeah, I started to learn to program when I was 7 on there, and that's led to my whole career. So,
what a start you got then! That's a brilliant computer to have at home.
Very, very lucky.
Still got one?
I've got 2 Bs. I've got 2 Masters, 2 Electrons, and an Atom, and then all the Archimedes collection.
Which is your favourite out of all of those?
It's hard. I do like one of the Masters that was given to me. That one's actually donated by a local friend, and it was boxed and hardly used. Unfortunately, the power supply had been battery eaten, so I had to replace the power supply in it. But apart from that, it's I really like it. It's like it's brand new almost.
I had one from actually Keith, Yawning Angel Keith, who was on here a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
He sent me his Master, which was boxed, brand new in box, and had never been used.
Oh,
it was like it had come out of the factory. I've never seen a 30-year-old computer look so perfectly brand new.
It's crazy when you get them like that. I've got an A600 somewhere that's like that as well.
It's nice as well because it's nice getting these computers back from our youths, but they are old machines now, and they smell that way, and they feel that way, and they look that way.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get a glimpse of what they look like and how they felt to you back then, and it just brings back some extra visceral memories that sparks a few neurons.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But yeah, I've got a lot of love for the BBC machines.
Excellent. I've got a couple here. I've got a Master myself, and I don't know how to use it, so I've got some learning to do.
Yeah, that one's a bit tricky because it's got a kind of BIOS type thing, so you've got to set all that up. Otherwise, it's
well, that's what I had to do with Keith's one when he gave it to me, and I just the only thing that needed doing in that because it had the Philips X caps in it, so it had no reefers.
Oh, nice, even better.
Yeah, I didn't have to do anything in the power supply. It's just the battery had started to leak, but it was in like a plastic sheath.
Yeah, due to the way mine was stored, the leakage ran into the power supply, and
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, so and I had to one look inside. I'm like, even if I clean this corrosion off, I can't guarantee it. So, but I built a custom power supply for it, and it's been running great off of that.
Oh, nice, excellent. Right, so let's shill your various outlets. So you've got we've already mentioned retrosupplies.co.uk.
Yep.
And linuxjedi.co.uk is where your blog is. I will put your X and Bluesky accounts in the video description and the show notes. Is there anything else anywhere else that people need to find you?
I just search for Linux Jedi pretty much anywhere. You'll find me probably.
Not on YouTube though. Don't search for
not on YouTube. Yeah, you probably find some weird rando there.
Put a "the" in front of it.
Yeah.
It's time to tuck our Amigas into bed for the night. I'm sorry if that confuses our Spanish listeners, as we sail off into the sunset looking for new adventures. And if those adventures involve battery-bombed motherboards, then at least half of us here are ideal for the job. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and you'd like to hear more, just like this, then a subscription would seem to be the smart move. And whilst you're pressing pictures of buttons on a screen, there's often a thumb-shaped one too, if you have an emotion you would like to convey. I'll leave it to you and your conscience to decide which way up the thumb goes. I also have a couple of YouTube channels called More Fun Making It and More Fun Fixing It, if you want to see what I get up to in my workshop. Some of it is not for the faint of heart. Right, let's weigh anchor and get sailing. Adventure awaits. Ahoy, Andrew.
Thank you.